Hey, Jamie, so you've heard of Halo before, right?
Yeah, of course I have.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. It hurts. It really hurts, Nat.
The pain these days is real.
But we've got some good news for once. A certain little hostile show of ours has, well, it's finally bitten the dust, hasn't it?
Yes, Paramount Plus has decided to cancel the Halo show. But that's Paramount Plus specifically. It could easily go like maybe another channel or streaming service, God forbid. But for now, we can dance at its corpse.
Let's, everybody, download your favorite dance from the Fortnite eShop and apply it to your Master Chief skin, because it is time for us to finally run a little bit of a victory lap. And here's the thing. I want to make something clear before we start. This is a little bit of a eulogy video. I guess you could call this a rant. I don't know. Do we call this a rant?
We could call it a rant. We have some rant points.
We have some rant points. The main thing is everybody who put the show together, who made it actually function, none of them are at fault, okay? This is like from a conceptual level, the show was flawed on so many ways. Don't go and be mean to actors in their Twitter handles. The actors were not the problem. None of them. Last time we talked about the Halo show, I said some very hurtful things about Pablo. Namely that I wish that he had kept the helmet on. But you know what? I never told him that. I never told him that in a Twitter bio space. I never told him that on X or Blue Sky or Facebook or MySpace. Or LinkedIn. I didn't let him know my opinions on LinkedIn.
Yeah, that was really important. He's on LinkedIn like all the time. He's kind of addicted.
And if you're watching this video, make your voice heard in our comment section, not the comment section of paid actors who are just doing their job.
Be nice, sugar and spice, Halo and rice. I don't know what that fucking means, actually.
Sounds like dinner, my friend. So do we want to start with your first little talking point?
Okay. Something I've noticed about this show specifically, like the entire time, and specifically in season 1, was how desperately it wants to be taken seriously. And this was really easy to see, like, looking back on it. And it was kind of easy to see as it was going on, but specifically looking back on it, you notice that it was very edgy in certain aspects. It was very dramatic, almost too dramatic, like soap opera level dramatic at certain times. And that was really frustrating because while I guess you could maybe argue that Halo is, like, the games itself are sort of soap opera-y, this kind of went like... This went off some deep ends. There's
also a big difference in the sort of melodrama of Halo Reach and the melodrama of this show, you know? When characters snip at each other in Reach, especially towards the beginning of the campaign, you sort of see where they're coming from. They all have these different, like, interesting perspectives as Spartans, like George and Emil butt heads at the beginning. And I'm not saying Halo Reach is that deep of a game. It's like a fun sci-fi romp, and it also has sad overtones. Right? It's melodramatic. It's a lot of fun. The show sort of pushes a similar angle with the whole humanity angle to the Spartans, but kind of runs off in various random directions with it. And that's not to say every direction it runs off is bad, especially in season 2, the plot line with not Linda and her Spartan 3s is pretty compelling. I like all of Silver Team. Again, listen, because this is a eulogy of the show, we are going to be talking about spoilers, and because it is a eulogy, rest in peace, basically most of Silver Team. I mean, like... Like, one of them's retired, one of them's dead, and the third remaining Spartan probably should have blown up, but I'm glad she didn't. Missing in action, yeah. I get the idea of, oh, we're gonna follow the trend of, like, making Chief alone by the end of it, you know? From season 1 to season 2, and if season 3 was supposed to be on the Halo ring, then, well, if that's Halo CE, Chief has to not be with a team at that point, you know, logically speaking. So I get the idea of sort of just putting his team through a meat grinder, but man, I would have liked Silver Team to be way more likable early on. In season 2, when they had more personality, because, you know, that was a plot line about Spartans being killing machines versus Spartans not being killing machines once they removed their goo-goo pellet.
Normal things to say.
Normal things to say. This show is awesome. The point
Swag.
is, when they got the chance to become characters, they were pretty compelling. The point being there is Chief, both pre and post pellet removal, was not that compelling. He was very melodramatic, and it was, like you said, this desire for Chief's problems to be taken seriously that the show had. It shouldn't have focused on that. I get that, like, the kidnapped Spartans is a really good angle to go for if you're doing, like, a dark, serious sci-fi thriller show, you know? But you've done that before. You've done the, like, exposing the dark parts of Halo, and it was called Hunt the Truth. I think we probably even mentioned that in the first video, so no need to, like, delve into it too deeply. But I think at the end of the day, the Halo show definitely suffered from a Game of Thrones issue.
Yeah. Like, something that I noticed that I really liked what you brought up about Reach. Notice that, like, Reach worked with a realistic point of view on a lot of things. Like, obviously Halo is sci-fi, science fiction, fiction's in the name. Reach tried to take a realistic approach and a more grounded approach to Spartans and how they act and how they behave and everything. And then this show also tried to do some sort of a realistic take on everything, but it went in the wrong direction. It went realistic in just the wrong aspects. Notice how it's just, they wanted to shortcut real drama and real storytelling with almost an illogical realism. And I'm not completely sure how to describe that other than just look at how they think that the Master Chief should be acting. Look at how they think that certain events transpired, like here's a spoiler. I guess it's a spoiler. Halsey killing her clone in season 1, which was a scene that kind of stood out because it was really like, I get that in the lore, it's not like going to be pretty either, like in the actual Halo lore, but it was definitely a scene that was like, this is you trying really hard to put on your big boy pants right now. This is you trying really hard to make you think, hey, we're different. We're something like that you can take seriously. We're realistic.
Did you know Halo is for adults?
Yeah, exactly. Did you know an M-rated game M for mature rated game? Well, actually, it's technically a T now.
Also, no, that's like also very funny is that right now it is like a T for T rated game or whatever, and it's the show doesn't fit with that at all. It's like the games are doing one thing, and the show has, again, run off in a random direction to do its own little thing. And something you wrote in our notes here is the insecurity the show has about itself for not being taken seriously enough, especially season 1. That's exactly right. Like, I feel like the actual level of violence in the show is interesting because it's like spectacle, like, oh, what would it actually look like if a Needler super combined you? What is the actual horror aspect of the Covenant? That's an interesting idea. But like the show opens with like this sort of inherent tragedy of like Quan going into a cave on drugs with her friends to dick around, and all of them die brutally from aliens, and
they
then
get exploded.
They get exploded, and then Quan almost dies, has to watch her dad die, and then lives in hell for 2 seasons. Like, the show is very almost cruel to its characters sometimes, and it doesn't really seem intentional all the time. Especially with Quan. The show feels both like spiteful to Quan and also like weirdly committed to making this character relevant despite taking everything away from her. Like, okay, the Covenant showed up on Madrigal, blew everything up, killed her entire family. Her motives change from hating the UNSC to hating the Covenant because the Covenant obviously sucks way more than the sort of Imperial UNSC ever did. I get that. However, nothing they do in the show actually like makes her character work. And then almost as punishment to her, the character, they blow up Madrigal off screen. That's her entire character arc gone. And then she's still integral to the show in season 2. That doesn't make any sense to me because that's not really how you should be structuring a character. I mean, again, eulogy spoilers for season 2. It turns out Kwan has a deeper purpose or whatever. So it's good to know that the show is taking from pretty much the worst parts of the 343 trilogy in the whole like Chosen One plot line that they were doing. Yeah. Listen, hey, Ancient Aliens stop being cool at the introduction of the Forerunners the moment you start giving them, like, oh, we planted seeds that would lead to an eventuality, and that eventuality was you. That's stupid. I loved Halo 4. I still do love Halo 4 because the Master Chief in Halo 4 is sort of what a TV show Master Chief really could have benefited from being. Sort of this quiet, sort of almost like meandering character. Like, you don't have to make him spit out like one-liners every 2 seconds, and you don't have to make him cry about his mommy, okay? Because, again, there's no issue with writing a character with mommy issues, okay? That's a fun angle to approach something from. And the Master Chief sort of screams that concept when you sort of learn about Halsey, what Cortana is, who Cortana's a brain clone of, and how Master Chief hangs out with Cortana 24/7. I get it. But it's not the... I guess it's not the angle that they chose to approach different things from. It's always the execution of those things.
Oh, yeah.
The idea of Kwan Ha being sort of this very human element of the show, dedicated to a single planet, versus juxtaposed from the Master Chief, who is this very machine element of the show, dedicated to the whole of humanity. It's sort of in a cosmic scale. It's sort of like the needs of the needs of the many, or the needs of the few, something like that. Like, you could have had the angle of Kwan really wants to petition the UNSC for help, but they're not going to help, and because she has had a personal relationship with the Master Chief, in that, like, she was the girl that he randomly decided not to execute, like, because you have that connection, she could reach out to him, and then Chief has to make a choice. Oh, do I follow Halsey's orders, or do I go do a big badass finale CGI segment on Madrigal against Halsey's orders? Something like that. But the two sides of the show never really connect, even when they sort of come up with contrived reasons for them to reunite. Like, again, Kwan Ha's, like, secret connection to either the Forerunners, or maybe she's like being tricked by the Gravemind or something. I don't know. They had some ideas with that. I'm hoping that we never see what those ideas were on the big screen. I hope we just get a script leaked someday, because the show is not good enough to continue. Hey, genuinely, if they do a season 3, or if they do a different Halo show, I like most of the actors from this Halo show. Genuinely, I think it would be really funny to bring all of them back and recast them in different roles, and then just ignore the Silver Timeline thing and say, oh, these are all canon characters to the video games, and they're gonna have their adventure on Planet Boo Boo. Yep, it's a planet that's been mentioned in the background of one book from 2003. Now we're gonna do a whole TV show on it. It's gonna have the Covenant, it's gonna have Spartans, it's gonna have Marines, it's gonna have generally all the iconography that you are familiar with, but it's gonna tell its own unique, intriguing story, which is what the Halo show should have been. Again, I think we said this in the original video, but you really don't need the Master Chief in a Halo show. The most effective usage of Chief in the Halo show was in Season 2, when in-universe the UNSC was using him as propaganda, showing like the Master Chief armor, like standing heroically on like propaganda posters and stuff. That was like the best like usage of that armor in Season 2, if I'm being honest.
It was. And the helmet, specifically the helmet, because he was without that for how many episodes? A lot of episodes. Too many episodes.
Like, I get the idea. I get the idea of, oh, we're gonna take the armor away from Master Chief and then really test him. But that's something you do in like one episode, or like the 2 episodes leading up to the finale. The idea of like, oh, now a character has to be challenged. But Yeah, the Master Chief struggles slightly more. Okay, not slightly more. I mean, he doesn't have an energy shield, but he has plot armor, which is like an energy shield.
True. It's like it's an energy shield, but it's in writing.
It's
in
plot
words.
shield. It's working. I can feel the narrative protecting me.
Now, here's the thing. I liked what you brought up about being curious about what this show has to offer and stuff like that. Because I'll be honest, I would read it. Like, I would skim like a Reddit post that read a script, maybe that like bullet points what season 3 might have been about if that gets leaked or something. I'm fine if that never happens and the show dies here because I'll be straight up. I don't need to know what happens to anything regarding this show. I am far more interested, and I don't know how hot of a take this is. I'd like to think it's actually a pretty cold take, a pretty common take. I'm far more interested in whatever the heck is going on with Halo Infinite's story. I'll be straight up. That's far more compelling to me. That's far more interesting to me than anything that happened in this show. And like, it's just not worth it. Nothing here was worth preserving. Nothing here. Well, like you said, some good acting in here.
Genuinely like some like Soren again. Like,
yeah.
Okay. I think I said this in the first video, but like Kwan Ha's actress was not one of the show's problems. I would love to see her return if she can stomach Halo fans. I like a lot of the actors from this TV show, you know? They all did really well performances. I never really thought that anybody did like a bad performance except for Pablo, who, again, is one of the few characters that we have like a sort of a preconceived notion of how his character should be, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm all for reinterpretations of characters, right? That's fine. I don't care. Pablo wasn't a good fit. Like, a great example. Admiral Keyes in this show, right? Complete reinterpretation of the character. I loved him. He did a great job as the character. Yeah. Pablo did not fit the Master Chief at all. I don't need to know the Master Chief's face. I don't know what 343 and other people's like obsession with, we have to give the Master Chief a face is. It's not a good idea. A character can have character without having a face. Again, something we've mentioned, but The Mandalorian just came out. It's not like this can't be done.
Yeah. There's a decent amount of characters that don't have like physical faces. I'm not to be a little cheeky. I know very well that you can at least try and give some emotion with characters that don't have facial expressions.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. You run that whole.
I'd like to think
you run that whole Mega Block series.
Yeah, exactly. The whole Mega Construct series. Yay! But no, it's like there was something that you brought up actually a while ago that I did want to talk about just slightly. It was fascinating how in season 1 you can absolutely see that they did not look at the games, which is what they said. They specifically said that they didn't look at the games, and what is their problem? But
why are you making a Halo show if you're not looking at the? Are you stupid? Are you dumb?
Are you dumb as?
Again, it's not like I'm not enraged by the concept of not following the games like point for point. You know, I'm fine with you going with different lore, but who are you marketing to then? You know?
Yep. Who wants this? Who asked for it? And something you mentioned was. It's funny because then you can see the shift between season 1 and season 2 of how much they are looking at the media of like the games and the lore. They mentioned Winter Contingency in season 2. Oh yeah, and then also in season 2 they mentioned like his luck and stuff like that. Like season 1 was absolutely like, okay, so Master Chief's luck is hard-coded into him because he was born with it. Meanwhile, it's like in the games, it's very much more like, yeah, he's just lucky. Yeah, he's just really cool. And it's
he's
not
lucky because he's the player character, because he's you and you're badass. You step into the shoes of a badass because we're playing toys together.
Exactly. It's not something that has to be explained.
Yeah. It's
not something that needs to be like spelled out for everyone.
Yeah.
And also like, if I may real quick, and then season 2 was like explored that luck concept a little bit, but then it's like, where's the fun in that? You just explained the entire luck concept. You just explained the entire thing, and there's no point. That's not fun now. You took away the fun aspect.
Speaking of taking away the fun aspect, the Arbiter was incredibly engaging in season 2, and then he fucking died. Another thing that I find interesting about the show is that they kind of based the, like, infantry elites off of the Arbiter's armor and then kind of had to come up with a new design for the Arbiter of the TV show. And his armor just kind of looks very generic.
I thought the same. I thought it was like this weird Halo 4-ish, like, inspired armor and like merged with the Arbiter from Halo 2. And I'm like, okay, not feeling it completely at all.
Genuinely, I don't think that like the boring grays and like silvers of the TV show Covenant like are that worthwhile to explore. I would have much preferred them to go with like the well, obviously the games like sort of presentation of things, because that would have been more visually engaging, but also it would have been, you know, cooler. Like, okay, imagine. Here, step with me into my parlor of imagination.
Oh, wow, it's beautiful.
Thank you. Imagine the Covenant on the TV show are a high-res reinterpretation of Halo CE's design, something that we haven't really seen directly upscaled up to 4K, right? Now, that could be a fun concept, or it could look like shit. I think it would be a stylistic choice that's worth exploring, but imagine you take that concept and also apply it to the insurrectionists, to Madrigal. Imagine taking the groundwork laid by Halo CE, this sort of like foundational thing for the entire universe, and saying, okay, in the era of Halo CE, if we were Bungie at the time, what would we make human rebels look like, you know? Imagine like interesting sort of like blocky armors, the idea of like infantry units that have never been seen in-game because we never fight humans in the games, but like reinterpreted like as if they were old like 90s video game enemy designs and then turned realistic. And now imagine like Quan Ha in some like ill-fitting armor she got from her dad after he died. Like I really like the idea of leaning into the gamey aspect in ways that are more clever than just making first-person segments. I am endeared to them maybe once or twice. They can be fun, but I don't really need this many references to, oh, did you know that this was a first-person video game? Now we're gonna make the Master Chief do a flip and a spin around, and you're gonna see the HUD that he's shooting from, and you're gonna see the ammo counter go down, and it's a whole game reference. No, you can do game references so much more clever than that. You can take what you're built from, but not just use it as like a rule set, you know? I think that's a lot of the time when people making adaptions say, oh, we didn't look at the source material, or we didn't care about the source material. This is for everyone. They think they're trying to make it more broad, more widespread appeal. But you're not, because your core audience, the people who are first going to be watching this, are Halo fans. They are going to be the reason that people get Paramount Plus accounts, right? Then these Halo fans are going to share something with the people that they care about. They're going to show their friends and family. They're going to recommend it or not recommend it to those people. And then there's going to be third parties of people who just see the Halo show and say, hey, this looks cool. Like, I saw the Fallout show, right? I'm not really an avid Fallout player. I played New Vegas and none of the other ones. So I liked it when there was a big mountain reference. But the point is, if you are a developer for TV, I don't know, what do you call them? Filmmakers? The wretched things?
Terrifying.
If you're making a TV show based off of something and you hold active scorn and contempt for it, that's a little bit silly.
Wasn't there an entire thing at the beginning of 343's lifespan where they said they hired people who didn't like Halo? But that's getting a little bit into a different topic, but that was something that just kind of
come with me into this dark, scary tunnel I just found.
Ooh, dark, scary. I love it.
I remember
Spooky.
that explicitly, that whole idea of, we want to hire people who hate Halo to make a new Halo game. And you know what? Hey, here's the thing. I don't hate the concept, okay? I don't hate the concept of taking the best aspects of other video games and applying them to Halo. It's not terrible, right? My problem that I had with it, with that concept, is one, how almost certainly a soundbite has been passed around without context, you know? The concept of taking Halo 3, breaking that down, and adding something new and fresh to it is really good, because Halo 3 is already a really good game, you know? And I know for a fact, people who went to work for Halo aren't people who are like, oh, I want this franchise to die. When they say they want people who hate Halo, they say they want people who are unfamiliar with the game and can provide a fresh perspective on why Halo never resonated with them, you know? Oh, it seems too colorful and childish, or, oh, I didn't like the Master Chief, he always seemed very boring. I don't know why all these haters are British in my mind, but I'm sorry, the UK. I get the concept, you know? And it's not impossible to dislike something or dislike aspects of something and also do a really good job working on it. Because, again, and here's my scary tunnel we're about to enter, recently, I'm sure you've heard, there was a little bit of a controversy within the Halo sphere where it turns out...
Another one?
Yeah, a new one. Somebody working on Halo, get this, didn't like guns in real life.
No way.
What are we going to do? Sorry, the British.
Halo free.
Halo 3, innit? The point is, somebody's tweet from like several years ago blew up within the Halo sphere because we're in a news drought. Nothing is going on. There's no new games coming out, and the Halo TV show is un-news now. It is the opposite of news. It is a hole. And because of that drought, everybody got really mad at the idea of somebody working for a shooter game who doesn't like guns in real life. And people seemed baffled at that idea that, oh, how could you like Halo but hate guns in real life? You shouldn't be working on Halo. That's the dumbest opinion I've ever heard. I like Warhammer. I'm not a fascist. Are you an idiot? Do you just blindly think everything portrayed in your, like, favorite media is automatically good? Man, the Spartans are so cool. We should really try this kidnapping thing sometime. No! That was a tangent, but my point stands that I think it's fine when people from outside angles try to introduce something new to a game, media, franchise, whatever it is. I think a variety of viewpoints can be far more interesting than if we just got nothing but Halo fans designing Halo games forever. Because as much as 343 should have been going out the gate with the Halo Infinite art style, not many people are going to argue that. As much as they should have gone out the gate with that, there were good parts in Halo 4, 5, and Infinite. There are even designs that I like, you know? I like the Covenant Spirit from Halo 5. I like how it opens with all those little freaky claw doors.
Yeah.
I don't think they're terribly engaging compared to Halo 3. The Mantis was another really good design. The Mantis, in fact, sort of stands out for Halo 4 because it doesn't feel over-designed like everything else. If you just sort of made it a slightly more colorful shade of green, that thing could fit into Halo 3 easily.
When I think about the topic of hiring people who hated Halo, like, I agree with pretty much, with about 100%, about 100% of what you just said. Well, you just said it there.
You disagree with me a little bit. I'm gonna get you.
No, the point is, when I always think about that, and I was thinking about the formation of 343 and hiring people that quote unquote hated Halo, I often think to myself exactly what you just said. I look at Halo in its current state. I'm like, well, where did that get you? Did it work?
Oh yeah, no, that's absolutely right. Like, again, I like the concept, not the execution. Yeah. That is sort of I guess that's the thesis of our video here is good ideas. Man, you did not do them in moderation, huh?
Man, you fucked it.
You really did like, again, Okay, another great example of the whole, like, oh, we hired people who don't like our thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine you're trying to make a Star Wars movie, right? And you're looking for somebody to write and direct it. Are you gonna find anybody on Earth who actually likes Star Wars? No, Star Wars isn't very good. Anyone who comes to Star Wars is going to try to improve it. Anyone, by that metric, if you're looking for people who think Halo could use some improvement in their eyes, that's a good idea. You know what? Spruce up the place a little bit. The problem is, there are camps of people who dislike Halo because it's not Call of Duty, and there's people who dislike Halo because it's not Halo 3. Those two thought forms are very difficult to coalesce and make a coherent game. Mind you, every game should be Titanfall 2, and we're dumb for not having every game be Titanfall 2. But
Real.
the point still stands that there's merit in the idea of doing that, and there was merit in the idea of defamiliarizing Halo. Because again, that's what The Mandalorian did. The Mandalorian in the show, The Mandalorian, didn't know what a Jedi was. He called them space wizards. That's adorable. We should have been defamiliarized from the Halo universe, you know? Use some language that isn't generally used to describe the Covenant, you know? Describe them as imperialists, you know? Have the insurrectionists debate about their motives. Maybe it's not clear, you know? Maybe the insurrectionists think that there's still merit in an alliance with the Covenant. Because that happened in the books. That was a plot line, and they used the entirety of The Rubble, which was also the books. So clearly they're taking from the books, but picking and choosing things, which is good, but they're picking and choosing poorly.
Yep. I always thought it was funny, like the thought of like hiring fans and stuff like that. And sometimes I'm fine with like the hiring of fans. Sometimes I'm not. That's kind of a completely different conversation that I'm getting into. But I do want to say, whatever the Halo show did, that wasn't it.
That wasn't it.
That wasn't it. That was like so far in the opposite direction of hiring fans that it hurt itself in a completely different way.
Oh yeah. The trick is, if you're hiring fans, they have to be skilled writers and filmmakers first, and fans second. Because if you hire someone who is a fan before they are skilled, then you're probably gonna get the seasons 2 and 3 and 4 of The Mandalorian. Season 4 hasn't dropped yet, but it's gonna be bad.
Yeah, that's a good prediction. I keep thinking of something that Joe once told me that was something on the lines of, and I apologize to Joe because I'm stripping this quote down quite a bit so it's more accessible, because it was about Star Wars, but I'm trying to make it less about Star Wars and more in general for this topic. When they look at directors, when people in charge of Star Wars looks at directors, they don't think to themselves, who can we hire that loves Star Wars so much? They look at people who are like, okay, who's the skilled director here? Mm-hmm. And admittedly, I don't know if that applies to Star Wars that much these days.
Dave Filoni for another 100 years. Dave Filoni, let's go.
All praise. But yeah, it's definitely just something like they don't look at the people because they're huge fans. They look at the people because they know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. Oh, should we talk about Halo Landfall a little bit?
Oh yeah, apparently you watched
Halo
Landfall recently, and
yeah.
It resonated with you in some way. Elucidate.
Yes, so get this. I guess I'm the only Halo fan on planet Earth that hasn't seen Halo Landfall at least any time in my memory. Like, I'm sure I probably freaking watched it like a billion years ago. But it came out in 2007. I wasn't that old. I didn't even get into Halo until 2009. Point is, I don't think I've ever seen Halo Landfall like ever. So I saw somebody post about it and I was like, hey, this is what the Halo show should have been. And I was thinking to myself, all right, you know what? Okay. Let's just watch it. I looked it up. It's what? 6 minutes, 7 minutes, around there. That kicked ass. That was fucking awesome. What? How have I not seen this? How have I not been shown this? How have I not? Well, I guess I was shown it. but how have I not seen this? and this entire time, like, I would have been looking at the Halo show through the lens of not just like Forward Unto Dawn and semi-good adaptions of Halo in live action, like Deliver Hope and stuff like that. I would have been looking at it through this lens. I would have been thinking, okay, so this is what it could have been. It could have been like it could have been this intense and this kick-ass. Like watching these ODSTs and Marines that I've started to like almost bond to, like in just those few minutes. That was more than I gave a shit about any of the Halo characters in the Halo show.
Yeah,
I was like, holy shit, this like there was so much to love about those few minutes, and I was like, wait, this isn't what we got? We got 2 seasons, and it wasn't like this whatsoever? What were they thinking?
What were they thinking? Yeah, I think one thing about the Halo show, and especially compared to like some of their old live action ads, and I know the process of making a short and an entire TV show are going to be very different, but the Halo TV show just feels very uncreative, you know?
Oh, yeah.
It takes its sort of background narrative from the games and books and then sort of staples on the sort of skeleton of a TV show to it to make it work for 2 seasons-ish. And it doesn't work, obviously. And it doesn't appease Halo fans, and it doesn't appease outside fans. Like, what was that thing that kept being said when Halo 5 came out? It was on one of the streams we did recently. Oh, right. The idea in Halo 5 where people were like, the people who don't know the deep lore don't know what's going on in Halo 5. But if you ask anyone who knows the deep lore, they also don't know what's going on in Halo 5. It's like a third bad thing. And it's just, I think it's impressive that they just made the show genuinely bad on its own merit. Disconnected from both the games and TV shows, it's a third bad thing on its own.
Yeah. It's just fascinating to me. The more I realize how many blueprints there are that they could have taken from, there were blueprints on how to do this.
Seriously.
They were handing you a home run. They were giving you a softball. They were giving you this should have been easy almost, honestly. It just needed some love and care, which it didn't get the right way. So
seriously, one of your notes here says, give the people what they want sometimes. We certainly didn't want this, and like that's exactly true. Like, I know I waxed poetic for a long time about like how, you know, other perspectives are good when making like an art form, especially. But man, like if you wanted to make a good Halo show, you probably should have just sort of done what Fallout did and make it very like fan servicey, but also like around a core of a good plot. Again, like The Mandalorian and Fallout are the templates to follow for like shows that are based on a media property, you know? Like, they're never going to be high art. That's fine. They don't need to be. What I need to see on the screen is the Master Chief do something badass, and then, like, the screen pulls out, and it turns out, oh, it's the main character watching a propaganda film as he's enlisting at the beginning of the Human Covenant War, you know? Fun. You want fun on your screen. And then, after you've seen the Marine idolize the Chief and how badass he blows up those evil elites with, then we cut to him on the ground 5 years later. 5 long years.
Hey, Halo Wars reference.
Yay, yay.
I get it. What are we? Did we turn into grunts?
We're huffing. We're huffing what the kids call copium about the show being dead.
Real.
October 31st, season 3 is announced. Back from the dead.
Oh my god, that's the most terrifying Halloween movie of all time.
Again, like you said with Halo Landfall, another great example. Forward Unto Dawn was a TV show, and it didn't have like an infinite budget. You know, it was kind of like, it was a little bit of an indie show, but it still had incredibly well-paced action scenes and well-paced like just narrative moments throughout the whole thing. There was this underlying feeling of dread throughout all of Forward Unto Dawn, as like little bits and pieces of the Human Covenant war started to like slip through the propaganda cracks.
Yeah.
And then finally, like, they're trying to evacuate, and the Covenant hit the space elevator, and you just see people falling from the sky, hitting like the glass roof above them, and it's like, wow. Without showing like anything but like the silhouette of a Covenant ship in that moment, you made it pretty fucking scary. Good job.
Yeah. And also, like, didn't the headmaster of the school or something like get shot by Neeler and explode kind of off screen? I remember that.
No, there's especially, listen, when your aliens can turn invisible, you have the best excuse ever to make cheap, badass action scenes.
Real.
And I just, like, I think there were moments in the show where elites were invisible and stuff, especially during the prolonged and awkward fall of Reach on the Halo Paramount show, where it's just sort of meandering, like Chief and Perez are like meandering through the fall of Reach as Covenant are apparently inside the city and people are still just sort of dicking around on the subway. Like, if they dramatized that could have been good, but it feels very silly from like a viewer perspective for Chief and Perez to like almost die in one scene, seemingly walk for about 5 minutes, and then in the next like district over, nobody's paying any mind. They're all getting on the subway or eating dinner and stuff, and then the scary elites start attacking. You know, they're invisible and they appear out of nowhere. It's weird.
Honestly, it's really funny because I keep thinking to something that my sister once told me. It was something along the lines of like, she was looking for a badass this entire show. She was looking for someone really cool, like that she could like look at and be like, yes, hell yeah, this show just got good. They just came on the screen. We are so back, type of thing.
Yeah.
And they had the easiest route for that, which was the goddamn Master Chief.
Yeah.
The goddamn Master Chief was not the goddamn Master Chief. It was like was barely there through the entire show. At some points, it was Quan Ha in season 2, which was hilarious. Which was I was not expecting whatsoever. Was honestly every single plot point with Quan Ha and like how near at the end she knows something about the flood. I loved what you said about how maybe the Gravemind's like tricking her and something like that. That would be pretty cool.
I figure.
Love to just read that on a Reddit post someday though. Wouldn't want to see it.
Yeah, absolutely the kind of plot point where you'd love to see it like written out in front of you, but you don't really care for watching a season 3 to see it happen. Because listen, like the flood did that in the books basically. If again, if you're a bookhead, like some sort of book pervert, you'd know that the flood initially like got to human society by basically disguising themselves as like cute little cats or whatever. They were called the Faru, but I'm gonna call them cute little kitty cats. And basically, if you introduced these weird spores to the kitty cats, they would look even cuter. Turned out those weird spores, that was the flood, and the start of the flood is because cute little cats attacked. Halo lore is silly.
I can as what's a Gravemind quote? Quick, give me
Vengeance.
No, give me a Gravemind quote, quick.
I don't know. I can't. Oh fuck.
I can as a monument to all your sins.
That's nothing.
I think it's something to me. It's everything. It's everything to me. I tried to shit that one out.
But yeah, definitely a plot point that I'd rather read in a Reddit dump post rather than like see play out on screen. Because again, the show is very, how do I put this, spiteful to Quan Ha. So I would not doubt the writers saying, oh, the fans don't like Quan Ha. Let's make her life even worse by making her a puppet for the Gravemind in season 3. And she inadvertently leads to an even bigger outbreak by thinking that she's sort of like chosen to be immune by the Forerunners. But it's the Gravemind playing 5D chess with her. Which, again, like you look at the writing on the wall in the show and it's like, life just gets worse for poor Quan Ha.
It is frustrating the more I just feel like my time has been wasted with this show.
Yeah.
Like I'll look back and I'll think I've been played with, I feel like especially in season 2. Like season 1, when I realized this show was not going to get good, I just kind of was like, okay, I accept this will not get good. Season 2 gave me a glimmer of hope. Like, I will admit, there was a moment where I was thinking to myself, there's no way that this is going to redeem itself. Is this going to redeem itself? Is Halo going to, are we hashtag we back? And I was completely shed on. Completely. And that was just upsetting because I just keep looking back to it. I'm like, man, I didn't need that.
Yeah.
Man, that didn't need to happen to me. It's like, what was the net? Was there any positive from watching this? There was a few cool fight scenes, I guess. I know that some of the music in season 2, like this is, I guess, a little random talking about the music, but some of the music wasn't that bad in season 2.
Yeah.
I liked some of the motifs and stuff like that, but I don't see it anywhere for me to listen to. For the record, it's clearly not. It's one of those things which shows where they really lost their way, because Halo has always been this ball of like, okay, every facet has strength. You look at the original trilogy for sure. Every facet of them has some sort of strength, like to gameplay, to music, to the art style, to the characters, which is something they all wanted to show. Then they were excited about it. They had little Vidocs, which I think that's how you pronounce it, right? Vidocs?
Vidocs.
Nobody
will ever know.
Scary. They would have little Vidocs just talking about how excited they are for this. And you can tell that they didn't feel the same way about this show because I didn't really see that around.
Yeah.
Whatsoever.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because I wasn't looking, because of course I'm not going to look for it, but I wasn't seeing like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Hype?
Confidence.
Yeah. Okay. Confidence is a good way of putting it. There was a lack of confidence from both like 343 and Paramount. Even though the show got like Paramount like record signups, right? Didn't it?
Yeah. It did season 1 did very well. Season 1 did very well.
It really did lack both the cultural impact and the studio confidence that the Fallout show had. And again, if you're canceling season 2 and the idea of a Halo show is being shopped around, right? Don't pick it up for season 3. Pick it up for a new Halo show. Genuinely, something you said earlier has come back to my mind now like a boomerang. You mentioned like the idea of like what's going on Zeta Halo, like the chief, the pilot, like that narrative, like the endless little Cortana, right? That's way more engaging than anything that happened in the Halo show. Genuinely like, hey, Amazon, if you're making a Halo show and you need it to be tied into the games, Halo Infinite's not going to be getting story DLC, so why not make TV show DLC? Why not continue the story of, like, Chief and the pilot on Zeta Halo there, you know? Maybe that's where you, like, reunite with the crashed Infinity and, like, do a whole bunch of sort of, like, fan service-y plot lines, or even base the show around, like, a Marine still stationed on the Infinity when it goes down, and what life is like on the crashed ship on this, like, alien ring world where you're constantly being attacked by the evil Red Covenant. And it's like, there is something there, much more than there is something in continuing the Halo show. Because, oh my gosh, what was that one quote that got pulled? The idea that the Halo show is, air quotes, enormously franchisable. No, that the Halo show is not franchisable. The concept of a Halo show is fine, but don't make more Silver Timeline stuff. I genuinely don't think a lot of people resonated with it. And if they continue with that plotline because they think they have to, while the Halo universe itself expands in so many different directions and mediums that you could follow the ideas off of, just please don't make a season 3.
It is really funny. You're absolutely right, because let's be honest, campaign DLC, but as a TV show, that would have had a viewer base for sure. Like, I don't think, I know every Halo fan that I'm aware of would watch that.
Brand it specifically as, like, the Halo Infinite TV show, you know? Not just the Halo show, like the continuation of Halo Infinite.
the viewer base would be there, and if they made a sequel, then like as a game, the viewer base probably wouldn't be as confused because they would have watched the show. They would have been there. But it sucks because the actual Halo show that's real and here and in front of us and canceled happened. So it certainly, like, it burned a lot of trust there. Like, a lot of people probably would not tune into that now.
I also think, like, just comparing it to the idea of, like, oh, we could have had something that actually mattered to this universe. It feels so much more like this show wasted our time. And okay, here's the thing. If you made a Halo show in the Silver Timeline and it was really good, I wouldn't feel like it's wasted my time. But because this is a Halo show in the Silver Timeline and it was really bad, not only does it not matter from like a air quotes lore perspective, it also isn't good. Because here's the thing. Here at the show, we shit on lore nerds a lot, despite being lore nerds ostensibly. And that's fine, you know? You have to know what to watch out for, lest you become that thing. And I will never be a Star Wars fan, but that's two times I've been able to shit on Star Wars in one episode. Let's make it 3.
Let's go for 3! Yeah!
But my point is, there is merit in sort of getting into a universe, getting into its like fake history and stuff. There's a lot of fun to be had. It's a hobby, it's something to enjoy. And as long as you don't go insane from doing it and start policing people on, oh, that's not actually canon, oh, a girl can't use a needler, or some insane shit like that. Again, that sounds like a Star Wars complaint, but it also sounds like a Halo complaint. My point being, yeah. As long as you don't turn into the most annoying type of lore nerd on Twitter, it's completely fine to enjoy like a TV show or like some weird niche media that is terrible, but introduces something very interesting to the universe as a whole, you know? Which the Halo show doesn't do. The Halo show explicitly doesn't do because it's in the Silver Timeline, and there are no Silver Timeline fans.
Nope. It is really deflating realizing how much wasted potential, and I said this in the last video. I think I specifically talked about wasted potential being the main thing about season 2 and the Halo show in general. This was their chance to put Halo back on the map, and this should have been a slam dunk, and it wasn't, and that hurts a lot.
Again, listen. I know the grass is always greener on the other side, but man, Fallout fans are eating good tonight, you know? They have really been eating good for a long time, for no reason. Their most recent game was Fallout 76. Why do they get to eat? They didn't earn it.
Can I have a crumb of good media? Oh, Jesus, my throat. Ow. I just like choked on something. Jesus.
A fairy flew into your mouth and you swallowed it.
The Halo fairy. The concept for season 3.
That's what I watch. I'm gonna go watch the Halo Isekai anime. I don't know how to pronounce that word.
Me neither.
Let's go.
Random. What if in Halo 4 when Cortana saves Chi from the Didact? And the Didact's like, your compassion for mankind is misplaced. And Cortana's like, I'm not doing this for mankind. She just flies into his mouth. And he chokes and dies.
All right. So now we get to play the last game of the episode. You are here for season 3. You're the director of season 3. The problem is they've written everything, they've shot everything, and you've got a CGI and audio budget that is significant, but you can only change one thing going forward for the entire Halo show. What is it?
Okay. So, if I were to give an answer like a better answer, that would take some time because I would have to actually put on like a thinking cap and be like, okay, listen. like because when I get into like writing mode, I get into writing mode, you know? Does that make sense? It's like
do you want me to take the easy answer then?
Jamie, you go. Okay. It's not forming just yet. It's like
okay. I'll take the easy answer. I'm keeping the helmet on. The entire time I am putting Chief in the armor. If I can only change one thing and I can change nothing about the actual character or how he's like played going forward, the only thing I want is for the Master Chief to look like the Master Chief, because that is kind of important when you are playing a character. And the show did a really silly decision in all of this, you know?
You're so right, and you gave me a chance to come up with my thing. You ready for this?
Yeah.
If I had, like, say, unlimited budget, more Covenant politics.
That's honestly, a good one. That's a good one.
Like, bring back an Arbiter that might have a character arc. Maki dies, so we don't need some I don't know, just more Covenant drama, essentially. Like, it's there in Halo 2. It's there in Halo 3. Maki is essentially the show being unable to always have Covenant on screen due to budget reasons. But if let's say I had an unlimited budget, more Covenant. Yeah. More Covenant drama. Like, let's get some Thel in there. Let's get some Thel action. Come on.
Genuinely.
Stuff like that.
I actually very much agree. I think that is a very good answer. If I couldn't put Chief's hat on, I would want more Covenant scenes. And you know what? Even if I could put Chief's hat on, I would put more Covenant scenes in there first and foremost, you know? I think they were one of the highlights of Season 2, just because I think the writers actually had to be a little bit more clever with their dialogue and, like, pacing. Like, again, because CGI is expensive and every second is thousands of dollars, and a small country's like electrical system hijacked just to make Thel move his mouth once for 2 frames. The point being, I really do think that those were the highlights of Season 2, and going forward they would be the highlights of future seasons. But then again, we are sci-fi dorks at heart, so whenever the aliens start talking about their problems, we lean into the screen, and that might not be for everyone.
We are kind of dorks, yeah.
Oh yeah, an important thing to remember is we don't think we're the smartest people on Earth.
No.
Like, if you disagree with our opinions or anything, or think we said something dumb in this video, 1, my opinions are better than yours. 2, I'm joking about that. Like, it's fine. It's whatever. Talking about pointless TV shows on the internet is always so heated, and it shouldn't be so heated. That's why you're wrong. But, like, we should all just really be way more calm about it and, like, really come together and shut up about, like, all of this, it's this heated Halo rhetoric, Nat.
You're so right. Why did they have to make Halo woke, like, already again?
It's because the UNSC has gone too far.
It's like, in the end, I can take a bad show. I've watched a lot of bad television and movies, but it's the worst when it's something I truly love. And it's different when it's personal like that with Halo. So, in the end, rest in peace, Silver Timeline. Please stay resting in peace forever. I really hope you don't get picked up by another service. Just lie there and we will bury you. Thank you.
Wait, Nat, hold on. I just had a genius idea, right? We take a single page out of Sony's book, right? and they're really good movies that they make, right? We convince Amazon that everyone really liked Halo show, right? We get them to waste $1 billion on Season 3, and then nobody watches it.
Yay! We made a company waste $1 billion! Awesome! We wasted all that money!
At least one animator got paid! Hopefully enough for food!
Probably not! Poor animators. All right. So this has been me, Nat, and Jamie. Jamie, thank you very much for joining, Jamie. Thank you very much for making it this far. If you watched it, we will see you next time.
And if you didn't watch the video, please watch this video. Please watch the video now.
Please watch the video now. If you've watched this video, please comment, please.
Please. Please.
All caps, please.
All caps. Just go ahead and beg in the comments and freak everyone else out, okay?
Beg and squabble. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, everyone.